All right. Good morning, everyone. Love to everybody on YouTube. Love to everyone in the Call to Come community via the Zoom link. Trust you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. It's a joy to be with you. We'll just give it a few seconds, wait till everyone hops on, make sure that everything is working, and then we'll get into it. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Yay. Good morning, everybody. Just going to give it a few seconds, wait till everyone joins, and then we'll get started. All right. Well, beyond happy to be with you all. For those of you that have missed last week on YouTube, I was away on vacation, so it's wonderful to be back and to be with everybody. And of course, to be back and to be ready to kind of move us into the next phase of our lives, which is, to a certain degree, compassion and a gentleness and an empathy that we direct toward ourselves because we recognize unequivocally that we deserve it, that we're worthy of it. And that also, on some level, we have to live for this truth, this greater experience of truth that dwells within us, and we have to prioritize it. You know, as a community-wide phenomenon, giving has never been a problem. You're great at giving. But somehow, in some way, you have been falsely bamboozled, brainwashed, and hypnotized into believing that you don't deserve to receive, that on some level, it's not okay for you to prioritize yourself or your time. It's not okay to advocate on behalf of who you are. And so, to whatever degree, because of this programming and conditioning, you've acquiesced your personal power, just handed it over, and your life has become about every other person. Now, the good news is that in the time that you've been here with me, you've begun to reclaim that. And the reclamation of that can be somewhat inconvenient or uncomfortable for those around you, especially people around you who are just selfish, who are used to just taking. Because the very second you utter the word no, it elicits or evokes a heightened emotional reaction from them because they're just so used to getting whatever they want. No matter how inconvenient it may be, no matter how impractical it may be, it's almost like they feel entitled to have their experience of life, and it doesn't matter to them what effect it has on anyone else. So when you first begin to assert yourself and demonstrate some form of self-empowerment, it can be jarring for people because you discover this magical word. No, sorry, not today. Not available for that. I'm not around. Sorry, maybe later. I'll take a rain check on that. And by the way, it never rains where I live, so good luck, you know. And you should see the reactions. You should see the reactions from people. You should see them. After a while, once you're done recognizing that you're just playing a role, there's a certain level of hilarity around it. It becomes humorous, right? It becomes funny. And people don't realize that no is actually a proclamation of self-love. Some of you had to say no to being in a relationship dynamic that was disrespectful. Some of you had to say no to being in a business dynamic that was not equal, that wasn't benefiting you in any way. So it's amazing how for so many of you, so many powerful things began with this magical word called no. Sorry, I can no longer participate in your version of reality. Sorry. I deserve now to focus on myself, to focus on my health, my well-being. I deserve to focus on my peace of mind. And the very second you do that, you fall down this rabbit hole because that one singular act of empowerment, no, then spirals and balloons and mushrooms into countless acts throughout the course of your day where you are advocating on behalf of yourself, advocating on behalf of your truth, who you are, your experience, how you deserve to live, and so on and so on and so forth. Until one day you wake up, as so many of you have throughout the course of, I don't know how many days we've been here for now, and you realize that you're living in a whole new world. You're living in a world now where you have time for yourself, where you're prioritizing yourself, where you're prioritizing your needs, where you're doing everything that you need to do for yourself, where you're advocating on behalf of this divinity, by the way, this love, this aspect of God that dwells within you. And so this pivot into gentleness requires you to also deploy the word no sooner and faster. And it also requires you to advocate on behalf of yourself, because so much of what you do for others is not gentle. So much of what you do for others, so much of what you make okay is at the cost of being gentle with yourself. And you beautiful being, deserve tenderness and kindness. You do. You do. At some point, you have to realize how you deserve to feel every day. You have to realize what it is that you want, how you want to live. And for so many of you, beginning your day here is a foundational piece of that. And I'm honored that you start your day with me. I really am. You could be in a million different places, paying attention to a million different things, yet something brought your heart here. And for that, I'm grateful. But now we have to build the momentum of this on throughout the rest of your day. We have to carry it on. We have to carry it on. And we have to carry it on because, just in case you hadn't noticed, if you're selfless in a world of selfish people, you're going to suffer. Human beings have a hardwired component within them. And to be humble is to be honest about the fact that you have this hardwired component too. Everything in nature acts in accordance with the laws of nature, and yet everything acts for the propagation of its own species, for the continuation of life. And human beings also act in their own self-interest more often than not. And so if you are holding on to these highbrowed ideals in a world filled with everyone who is operating from self-interest and survival, then you're constantly going to be left empty-handed. Leave me a one or yes in the chat if this is resonating with you. Primarily because you're going to be left surrendering your truth, your abundance, your health and vitality, your time, your awareness, and your resources to facilitate whatever it is that somebody else has going on. But after a while, ending your participation in something is the ultimate act of self-love. Sometimes you have to end your participation in your own discontent. O Horatio, the sun hath set on me, and the winter of malcontent is upon me. It has stricken my heart. Sometimes you just have to end your Shakespearean production that you are engaging in, no matter how wonderful it may be. So sometimes you just have to stop participating in whatever it is that you have going on. Sometimes you have to stop participating in what it is that other people have going on. So how about, if you have to inconvenience yourself for another person, then maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. I'll prove it to you. Some of you, in order to come to Call to Calm, wake up very early. As much as you love me and I'm adorable, if you weren't getting something out of it, you wouldn't wake up every day to be here. So you are absolutely showing up for you, and it's absolutely motivated by your self-interest. Leave me a 1 or a yes in the chat if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Some of you absolutely wake up every day and fine, yeah, you could say, great, well, we love you and we're grateful for you. Sure, but that's not why you're here. You're here because every time you come, you get something out of that investment of time. So there is some self-interest at work in even your waking up to click on a link to come to a free monologue and meditation every day. And let's face it, the risk reward on a free meditation is asymmetric upside all day long times infinity. So even you're wanting to know yourself, wanting to be peaceful, wanting to love yourself, is in some way, shape or form a manifestation of your own self-preservation, your own basic survival instinct. And it just so happens that our interests are aligned. Because I love showing up every day and sharing these things. And I would do it whether you were here or not. And that creates a very symbiotic relationship. Because I love sharing, and I have no attachment to any outcome. It doesn't matter whether you come to a group alignment session or ever sign up for Impact. It really doesn't. I love sharing. And you wake up because there's some benefit for you on a personal level in inconveniencing yourself enough to get up early and to rearrange your morning to be here. So there is a value in it for you. Now, the blessing is that I'm not sharing because I need what I'm sharing to be valued. I'm sharing because I love sharing. I just love it. I couldn't think of anything else to do with my life that I love more. Now, I will let you know that in the event that I discover something that's more interesting than this, I'll let you know. And then we won't be doing this ever again. But the truth is, as it stands right now, this is amazing. Amazing, right? To be able to share, to be able to express yourself, to be able to express your presence, your energy, your love for people, to be able to emote something that cannot be articulated is fantastic. Fantastic. And the fact that you get something out of it is great for you. So after a while, you have to recognize that everybody is motivated by their own self-interest, that there's something in it for them, that they're doing everything for themselves. I shared yesterday, much to everyone's shock, that even when God created all of this, reality and everything that we call life and creation, God did it for itself. God didn't do it for you, beloved. No, honey boo-boo. God did it for itself so that it could know itself. So even the ultimate act of creation, bringing all of this into being, having everything happen in the way that it's happening, was a little bit selfish on God's part, because God wanted to know itself through a multitude of different forms. The formless wanted to know itself through form and phenomenon. So then my question is If you're not doing it for you, then who are you doing it for? If you're not doing it for you, then who are you doing it for? And when you are doing it for yourself, is there any suffering? There isn't, is there? Right? So for example, if I showed up every day and I had an expectation that you were going to like me, that you were going to listen to me, that you weren't going to fall asleep during the monologue. I mean, it's a pretty low bar. But any expectation that I had, I would experience incredible suffering. Incredible suffering. What allows me to show up every day is that I have none of those expectations or assumptions. I have none of those outcomes. I'm blissfully sitting in a room by myself, expressing all of the things that come out of my mouth. There's nobody else in this room with me. It just flows out of me. And I love it. I love being used by God. I love the fact that the divine is performing an act of ventriloquism through me. I love how it feels. It feels all warm and fuzzy in here. I feel aligned. I feel jacked. I feel connected. It's great. I love it. I love it. However, does it need to take this form in order for that to happen? No. I've realized that God is performing a ventriloquism act through me all the time. Everywhere I go, words come. Everything comes. Everything happens. What am I doing? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I just show up. I'm here. Click on the link. Bingo bango. Bob's your uncle. Fanny's your aunt. Get the YouTube going. Next thing you know, words. 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 I personally show up. I set my alarm every day because I can't wait to experience what I'm going to say. So, here's how you find freedom in all of this. I would like all of you to have no expectations, no outcomes, and no assumptions as it relates to your participation in my life either. Gentleness. So, in the event that you get up and then you fall asleep and you start snoring and then you wake up and everything's done and you're like, what happened? I just slept through the whole thing. Did I get anything? It doesn't matter. Or you show up and all of a sudden I'm speaking to something that 100% applies to you, that 100% resonates with you. Wonderful. But the freedom in all of this is to do it because you love doing it. Is to do it for you. And to recognize that you are doing everything because there is some value in everything that you are doing. There is some value. And maybe doing things for yourself is a perfect form of altruism. Right? Doing things for yourself is a complete and perfect expression of altruism. Why? Because you're honest enough to acknowledge the fact that you're doing it for you. And by the way, you're the only person that you can do it for. Nobody else can do it for you. Even if you have a best friend who wakes up every morning, sets her alarm and comes to call to calm, they won't be able to convey the experience. Not to you and not for you. They'll be able to let you know what they got out of it. But they won't be able to give you the experience that you would have had you woken up. So, we're so blessed. We're so blessed that we're aligned. We're so blessed that you find an infinite value in peace. You find an infinite value in knowing yourself. That actually in the modern world it's the ultimate luxury. To have the time, the energy, the effort, the resources and the awareness to devote to knowing yourself is the ultimate act of luxury. Because it is time that you have taken away from every other activity in life. It means that you have valued it above and beyond everything else, right? So for example, some of you, throughout the course of your life, had to value peace and prioritize peace above and beyond the drama. Why? Because all of a sudden you valued that. You valued that. So then you directed your time, your effort, your energy, and your resources toward the cultivation of that. Why? Because now you know that it has a value. It is inherently valuable. In that same way, your health and your vitality, you start to value it. Why? Because you know how much of a difference it makes when you're moving your body, whatever that means for you. It doesn't take much, you just have to move it. And so after a while, you begin to realize that life is unfolding perfectly, and you can't be selfless in a world of selfish people. You have to be selfish in a world of selfish people, and that being selfish is not what you've been hypnotized, bamboozled, and brainwashed into believing it is. It is prioritizing the infinite, the eternal, and the immortal self that dwells within you. It's beginning to honor how you feel, how you want to live, what's important to you, your voice, your self-expression, the quality of your life. Because once you've been doing this human thing for long enough, you begin to realize that nobody else is going to do that for you. There is nobody else that's going to do that for you. Nobody. Nobody. I shared this last night. In order for a monk to leave their family, to leave his or her life behind and pursue nirvana, they have to commit the ultimate act of selfishness. Because what they are saying is, I choose nirvana over everything in my life, even my own family, every connection that I have. It is the most important thing to me, so I'm going to indulge in the ultimate act of luxury, the ultimate act of indulgence. Now the blessing is, for most of you, you don't have to engage in a radical act of selfishness. Not as radical as that. You can actually just start with, excuse me, yeah, that doesn't work for me. Hello, no. Hi, bye. And then you can realize, well, hang on a minute. Everything is doing that. Everything is doing that. Everything is doing that. Everything in creation is doing that, from the smallest of creatures to the grandest of us. The most gigantic of us. Everything that constitutes life is doing that. And it's okay. It's okay. And people's reactions are going to be what they are. But if you don't have an expectation, and you don't have an assumption, and you just advocate on behalf of yourself, because let's face it, it feels wonderful after a while, doesn't it? It feels wonderful, right? It feels wonderful to advocate on behalf of yourself. It feels wonderful. Well, now you're onto something. Now you're onto something. And now you're humble. Now you're humble. Because now you're finally allowing yourself to be honest about an aspect of being human that most people will never be honest about. That everything you do in your life is motivated by your own self-interest. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you can't escape it. It is fundamentally embedded and encoded into you. And it is how and why we have survived as a species for all of this time. So, take a walk, selfish. To meditate, selfish. To earn a wage, to support yourself, to pay your bills, selfish. To eat healthy, selfish. To work out, selfish. To pursue nirvana, the ultimate act of selfishness. And what's wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing. Not a single thing. Not a single thing. Because you have to prioritize yourself. You have to honor the vessel, the vehicle, and the being that you are. You have to do that. You have to do that. You have to do that. Because nobody else is going to. And until you do, the quality of your life and the experience of your life is not going to shift. It's just not. It's just not. So it's amazing that there is a certain devotion to oneself and a certain gentleness that we must cultivate now. And that it doesn't have all of these negative implications or connotations that everyone has led you to believe are real or true when they're not. And anytime you have a moment of feeling bad about doing it, well, just remember, when you were in a relationship that wasn't kind or that wasn't loving, you had to be selfish. You had to choose yourself enough to leave it. Didn't you? Whenever there was a job situation that wasn't rewarding or beneficial, you had to be selfish. You had to love yourself enough to leave it. Whenever there was a familial dynamic or relationship dynamic or a dynamic with a friend or peer group that wasn't working for you, you had to be selfish enough to walk away from it. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So there is nothing wrong with you prioritizing yourself. I shared last night that God dwells at the intersection of selfishness and gentleness. God dwells at the intersection of selfishness and gentleness. To be empowered, you have to be selfish. You have to put yourself, the self that dwells within you, first. And to remain in that state, you have to be gentle. You have to be gentle. You have to be gentle with yourself. And when we walk this path of prioritizing ourselves, our time, effort, energy, and resources, and redirecting them toward ourselves, and we do so with a gentleness, wow, we hit this amazing sweet spot of human experience that is just unbelievable. All of a sudden things open up for us, align for us. First of all, we just have so much more time. Secondly, we're using our time to nurture ourselves, to love ourselves, to do everything we have to do for ourselves. That's a blessing. That's a miracle. Then we're able to meet our humanity with gentleness. Why? Because we know that it's not wrong. It's not wrong to be a human being. So you'll notice a direct correlation between the degree to which you suffer and the degree to which you are not prioritizing yourself. And again, beloved, all these highbrowed ideals are wonderful, but the only problem is being selfless in a world of selfish people is a one-way ticket to suffering. Not only will they eat your nachos, they'll eat the cheese and the salsa and everything else that is on that plate. Oh, they'll eat the whole thing. They'll eat the whole thing until there's nothing left but maybe a small crumb of gluten-free nacho left on the plate. Yeah. And depending on how selfish they are, they'll lick the plate too. Yes, they will. So this is the nature of the world. And here's the miracle. Are you ready? Here's the miracle. God, the divine, all that is, even uses humanity's self-interest and self-preservation. God, the divine, all that is, even uses somebody's self-interest and self-preservation to bring love and grace into the world. And I know that because God used your self-preservation and your self-interest to have you walk out of the door, out of every relationship dynamic that was lopsided, that had an imbalance in it, and that didn't serve you. Which is why some of you are alive today. So thousands of people from all over the world wake up every morning and click on this link because they derive inconceivable value. A value that they cannot even ever quantify as a result of waking up and clicking on the link. I hope it serves you too. I hope it does. Thanks for being here. I love you all. Let's see. Laurel. Stop typing Om Shanti heart emoji. Day 1447 call to calm calls. I was recently informed that my studio lighting was wrong and that it was making my dark circles appear darker than they actually were. I was actually slightly offended that none of you had ever pointed that out to me. But I'm grateful for the fact that somebody finally did. Thanks for letting me share. Now back on to our regular scheduled programming. I feel better now. Yeah, I just thought it was being Indian. I thought it was genetic, innit? I'm like, damn it. But no, bloody lighting in here. All right, let's do it. Oh, now everyone's an expert on the lighting. Thanks, Eves. And I've known you for how many years? All right, close your eyes and breathe and relax. Good morning, sweet friends, and welcome to another Call to Calm meditation. At some point, you have to be honest that you're doing everything that you're doing because you're deriving some value out of it. This is why people suffer. They suffer, and they insist on continuing to suffer because they're getting some value out of it. They stop suffering because they begin to derive some sense of value from ending their suffering. But human beings are very much value-driven. And this is why you can't tell anybody anything about anything until they finally see the value in it. Trying to let you all know that you are divine beings, that you have an infinite potential, as much as that has the capacity to fundamentally alter your life, has no place to land within you until you finally value it and experience it as your truth. And that requires your willingness to recognize where that value comes from. More often than not, it comes from living life long enough knowing what you don't want, who you don't want to be, what you don't want to experience. It doesn't matter how you end up here. What's important is that through every act of love, every no, every walking away, every leaving behind, you have prioritized your energy, your love, your light, and your resources on you, for you, to benefit you. Thanks for waking up today. Close your eyes, you beautiful beings. Open your palms and take some long, deep cleansing breaths. Resting in the awareness of your breath transforms your life into a living meditation. Just continuing to become aware of your every inhalation and exhalation. In life, we dedicate ourselves to that which we value. And unless we value it, we won't do it. Today, with every inhalation and exhalation, dedicating your time, your effort, your energy, your awareness, and your resources toward knowing who you are, loving yourself, taking care of yourself, aligning with your truth, living your life. Your reality is always under construction. And everything is being unfolded. In accordance with a master plan. Continuing to welcome self-advocacy today. Welcoming the prioritization of yourself in your own life. And devoting yourself to what you value the most, your truth. That which resonates with you in the deepest possible way. Continuing to rest in the awareness of your breath. Today I choose myself. I choose how I want to feel. I choose how I want to live. I devote myself to what matters to me. And I recognize that the prioritization of myself is the ultimate act of altruism. Continuing to welcome each inhalation and exhalation. continuing to welcome each inhalation and exhalation. I devote my time, my effort, my energy, my resources, my awareness, all that I have and all that I am, toward knowing myself, loving myself, and being empowered in who I've come here to be. To put myself first in my life is to honor and respect the truth that dwells within me. Seeing yourself today receiving all of your time, all of your energy, all of your awareness, all of your love, all of your gentleness. Being the sole heir and beneficiary of every action. In all things, honor the truth that dwells within you. In all things, honor the truth that dwells within you. Yay. Take some breaths. You wake up every day, you set your alarm, and you show up here because of the infinite value that you receive from focusing your time, your effort, your energy, your resources, your love, your heart, and all that you are on the truth of yourself. put yourself first today, everywhere else too. And at first it's going to be a bit weird. But recognize that maybe prioritizing yourself is an act of altruism. Because it's really the only way that you can be of service anyway. The only way. For those of you that are interested in going deeper, there is a group alignment session today. Super excited about that. And stay tuned to emails and announcements for upcoming things. And also, very happy that we're doing an in-person event in June 7th and 8th in Nashville, Tennessee. Can't wait for that. Everybody always says that as much as they love being together online, that it is no comparison for being together in person. And that's saying something when people all over the world like you receive incredible breakthroughs and awarenesses and insights through showing up here online. There you have it. So maybe be selfish today. Come to a group alignment session. Maybe act in your own self-interest today. And come to the in-person event. Well, wishing you all a fantastic day. Feel free to post and share the YouTube video through all of your social media channels. And let people know all over the world that it's okay for them to put themselves first too. It's great to be back with you all on YouTube. And I've loved my first day back with all of you in Impact. Just a reminder that everything actually is just a manifestation of impact. Everything is. And today's monologue and meditation is a gift from the Impact community, their commitment and their dedication to the truth of themselves. Sending you all of my love, wishing you all a fantastically selfish day. May you please put yourself first in all things. And remember that being selfless in a selfish world is a one-way ticket to a lifetime of suffering. Take care, you beautiful beings. I love you all with all my heart. Thanks for loving me. Be well.